and that, ma'am. In
Yes,
the
yes, very nice. Thank you so much for
Today
reminding.
we will be
I'm
starting
just
with polysaccharides.
Yes, I'm just going to just give a brief whatever we had discussion on the things. So macromolecules are bigger molecules. It are made up of monomers, and we had discussed about we had started carbohydrates, and we had also discussed monosaccharide and disaccharide. If I'm not wrong, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So in today's class, we'll be starting with the polysaccharides, and also we will be moving to another one of the other macromolecule, that is lipids. Let's see, start the sharing my slide. Is my slides visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So polysaccharides, as we know, they are the actually the bigger whatever we are seeing the when we are talking about carbohydrates, we are talking about the bigger molecules. So these are the macromolecules. Actually, these are the polymers of the monosaccharide units. So many monosaccharides just join together with the form of what kind of linkage?
Glycosidic linkage.
Yes, in carbohydrates we are seeing the glycosidic linkages. So glycosidic linkages are holding together in the monosaccharides to form the polysaccharides. So I have listed over here some of the important polysaccharides like starch, glycogen, cellulose, chitin, and peptidoglycan. If you can look into this, so starch is something that polysaccharide that is the energy storage in plants. Similarly, for the energy storage in animals, we have another polysaccharide known as glycogen. So both of them are energy storage, one in plants, one is animals. Both of them are polysaccharides. Now, cellulose is another polysaccharide which is actually the structural material of the plants. I mean, you can go to the structural framework of the plants that is made up of cellulose, which is another polysaccharides. And then there is another molecule which is chitin, which is actually the forming the exoskeleton of insects and all. You must have seen cockroaches. Cockroaches are like the crustaceans like prawn and all. So you can see that the hard covering over the that this insects is that exoskeleton is formed of chitin. So that is also a carbohydrate or a polysaccharide. Then again we have peptidoglycan, which is actually forming the cell wall of bacteria. So you can read about peptidoglycan more in the when we are going for the lipids molecules. Okay, so why I'm telling this? Okay, here I have just one thing. So this first four molecules like say starch, glycogen, cellulose, and chitin, these are actually homopolysaccharide. Homopolysaccharide in the sense that they just contain one kind of monomer, that is the same monosaccharides. Okay, so these are the homopolysaccharide, and peptidoglycan on the other hand is a heteropolysaccharide which is actually containing more than one different kind of monomers. Okay, so they are form of monomers, but then they are different monomers. That's why it is heteropolysaccharide. While if this is same monomers are present, then this is a homopolysaccharide, which is actually starch, glycogen, cellulose, and chitin. Okay, so this figure actually I think we have taken it from Leninger. I don't remember. Although so where here in this figure you can see that a man is holding a coconut and standing in front of coconut trees and all. So here in this actual picture you can see all the three kind of carbohydrates. So you can see cellulose, which is the actually present in the structural component, as I said, of the plants. So you can also see the starch, which is actually formed in this coconut, you can see. And then we have the glycogen, which is the energy storage in the animals. That also you can oversee. So this is the actual framework of the structures of these three molecules. So cellulose, then we have starch, and then glycogen. So all these complex carbohydrates are actually not soluble in water molecule. Okay. Moving to a little more about polysaccharides. So starting with starch. So starch is actually a polysaccharide which is formed of glucose molecules. As I said that glucose is the main monosaccharide. So many glucose molecules are bonded with alpha linkages, and starch is actually composed of two components, amylose and amylopectin. Mostly 15 to 20% of starch is composed of amylose, while 80 to 85% is composed of amylopectin. Amylose is actually the linear chain. Okay, so amylase is actually this linear chain which is containing many glucose molecules, while amylopectin is actually a branched molecule which is again having thousands of glucose molecules. So the difference between the two is that one is linear, one is complexes. Sorry, one is so one is branched, one is linear. So and mostly, as I said, that complex polysaccharides such as carbon, such as starch and glycogen, these are insoluble in water. So starch is not soluble in water, but they can be digested by breaking the alpha linkages or the glycosidic bonds. So in case of humans, just like even like we and other animals, they have this enzyme known as amylase, which can actually break down the starch and actually digest the starch. So whatever you say, whatever like this type of words that come that end up with ASE, so these are the enzymes. I think you must have learned about enzymes in your schools. So amylase is one enzyme that is present in humans and animals. So that is why we can break down the starch into smaller molecules. So if we can look into the what are the sources of starch, so whatever we are eating, at least in a human diet, we can see that we have starch in potato, rice, wheat, and maize, and some, etc. So you know that these are the sources of starch which are actually we are eating and we are able to digest because of this enzyme known as amylase. Okay, so this is all about starch. Now we have another polysaccharide, that is glycogen, which is actually the energy storage in animal's house. So this is also similar to amylopectin in the sense that it is also a branched molecule, very highly branched. Within every 10 to 5 minutes, this is branched. And as I said, this is the energy storage found in animals as well as humans. I mean, yeah. So it is mostly stored in the liver and the muscle cells. So whenever we are glucose is needed for the energy, so what is happening is this glucose units are actually hydrolyzed from the ends of the glycogen polymer. So glycogen is a big branch molecule. Whenever we are requiring energy, because glycogen is the energy storage in animals, so this glucose molecules actually which are formed within the glycosidic linkages in glycogen, from the ends only they start hydrolyzing and they provide energy to the animals. And since this glycogen is very highly branched, so there are many ends actually available for hydrolysis. You know, so you can look into this structure over here. So this is a branch molecule, so there are many ends. So whenever we are requiring energy, some glucose molecules from the end just get hydrolyzed to provide us energy. And it is found in the livers and the muscle cells. Okay, so this is the storage molecule found in animals, and the starch is the storage molecule found in plants. Two of the important polysaccharides. Now there is another polysaccharide which I was discussing some time ago. This is the cellulose, which is actually forming the structural framework of the plants. So this is another polysaccharide which is actually having unbranched chains, but with the glycosidic bonds, and we have this beta-1,4 glycosidic bonds between the glucose molecules to form this bigger molecule known as cellulose. As I said again, it's insoluble in water and has very rigid structure. Okay, so you can see that this is the structural material of the plants. Mostly in cotton, it is this 100% which is cellulose, and again this molecule is actually not digested by humans because of this particular bonds, the beta-1,4 glycosidic bonds, because this requires a specific enzyme known as beta glycosidase, which is actually not present in human body. So that is why we cannot digest cellulose. On the other hand, we have the amylase enzyme which can digest the starch. So we can have this food like potato and rice and all that, which are starch containing molecule. But if you eat normal these things, cellulose, that you are not able to digest it. So the major difference between the structure of starch and cellulose, you can see, just I have kept one repeating unit over here. So on the left hand side, we have a repeating unit of starch, and on the right hand side, we have a repeating unit of cellulose. You can see that this color have been highlighted. This oxygen is pointing downwards in starch. This repeating units, the two glucose molecules are interacting in such a way that the oxygen molecules is pointing downwards, while in case of cellulose, it is on the upwards. So these small difference, this see both the units, both the polysaccharide contains glucose, both are connected with glycosidic linkages, but the way they have been connected is different, and that is why that specific difference is the reason why there is so much of changes in the functions of both the molecules. And that is the major differences in biology. If you look into this, the structure function relationship, it is the main thing in biology, where the structure actually plays a very important role. So no matter what is the composition of both the thing elements, but the way it has been designed, the way the structure is depicts, that is actually highlighting the function of that particular biological molecule. So that is why starch and cellulose have differences. Because of this structural differences, they have different functions as well. Okay. Class, are you following?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So I highlighted some of the functions
Ma'am,
of
what is the
carbon.
syllabus
Yes.
for CA1? Means
Sorry?
what will come for CA1?
CA1, whatever
Yes, ma'am.
I and Monita madam will be teaching you till CA1, those things will be coming. Okay.
There is no appropriate syllabus, means how much you will be covering.
No,
Then
not
we
yet.
can start.
Not yet.
Okay,
So whatever till the last class I will be teaching, that will come. Sorry?
The questions will be in MCQ format, right?
Just a second. I'm just increasing the volume. I'm not able to hear you properly. Yeah, what you said?
The questions will be in MCQ format, or what?
Not necessarily. We have not thought about it. So you have to just think about it, what you have to do. Okay, let me first take some classes at least.
Yes, continue.
Okay. So don't worry about the CA1. Okay, it might be objective, it might be subjective. Okay, whatever be that, we'll be letting you know by at least 2-3 class. Let me finish, then only I can just tell you what is going to happen. Okay, so here's some of the functions of the carbohydrates that I have listed. So you know that these are the source of energy, just like I said about starch and glycogen. Also the storage form of energy. First of all, source of energy in the sense we have glucose, lactose and all, and then we have storage form in the form of starch and glycogen, and then we have the structural component in the sense that we have cellulose, which are actually forming the main component in plants, and then we have glycolipids and glycoproteins, which are actually we can learn about it more, which actually play a very vital role in cell recognitions. So when Professor Ghosh will be teaching you cell biology, you will be learning about how cell signaling happens, how the cells communicate with each other. So these are the molecules that play a vital role, like glycolipids and glycoproteins. Okay. So some of the things which I've actually again summarizing what are carbohydrates. So these serve as energy stores, fuels and metabolic intermediates. Also there are certain sugars like ribose and deoxyribose, which is actually are the monomers or the main part of the DNA and RNA, which are actually bigger molecules. We will be learning about nucleic acids. They are forming the genetic materials in most of the organisms as well as viruses. So these are the sugars. Then we have polysaccharides, which are actually structural elements, as I had said, which are in the cell walls of plants and also as well in some bacteria. I just forgot to mention that they are also the structural elements of bacteria. So then we have carbohydrates. Actually, some of the carbohydrates are actually linked to proteins and lipids, just like I was telling, glycoproteins and glycolipids, as the name suggests. Glyco from the carbohydrates, and then proteins are the lipids, which are from the proteins and lipids respectively. So these actually play a vital role in mediating the interactions between the different cells and other elements in the cellular environment. As I was saying, they are involved in cell signaling and all. These are some of the summarizing carbohydrates, which are the important roles of carbohydrates in our body. Some points which I have actually noted down from the book itself. I just copy pasted these things. Carbohydrates are actually molecules that primarily contains carbon and hydrogen oxygen. This 1:1 ratio, that is fine. Condensation and hydrolysis we have discussed. So sometimes these are the two very important reactions. In one, water is released, in one, water is added. And then we have metabolism, between all the chemical reactions, actually enzyme mediated ones, that are actually using this energy to build and break down the organic molecules. And we have monomers, which are the subunit of polymers, and then polymers, which are actually formed of many monomers. So this is all about carbohydrates. Any question till now? Carbohydrates is one of the biggest, one of the macromolecules, which actually we have discussed. We have discussed about the three major carbohydrates: monosaccharide, disaccharide, and polysaccharides, their functions, their importance, and how the structure looks like. Yes.
Ma'am, you said that in the next class you will discuss the non-reducing and reducing sugar reaction, how they are different. So,
Who
ma'am,
is this?
Harsh.
Harsh. So Harsh, did you not find the reaction by yourself?
No, ma'am. I have like in the 12th standard book in chemistry everyday life chapter it was given, but I couldn't really understand because reactions was not given. The only point was there that hemiacetal formation takes place in the reducing sugar, and non-reducing it doesn't form anything like that. So I couldn't understand.
Who else could not understand apart from Harsh? बाकी लोग को सबको समझ में आ गया? Why sucrose is a non-reducing agent? Just a second. Hello. Yeah, so who else is having issues? Class, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So बाकी लोग को समझ में आ गया? Why this reducing and non-reducing sugar differences?
No, ma'am. Yes.
No, madam.
No, ma'am.
Acha. So tell me, you have done this chemistry practical, tolerance reagent and Fehling solution or not?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Practical नहीं
Yes,
किया
ma'am.
ऐसे ही books पर
No,
के
madam.
मैंने
No. Acha. So any idea about what actually they do?
they identified the carbonyl group means aldehyde or
Yes,
ketone.
for aldehydes and
Aldehyde or ketone group.
Signify the carbonyl group.
Okay, so these non-reducing agents actually have this free aldehyde or a ketone group. That is why they actually, that's why these are actually reducing or non-reducing based on that free aldehyde and ketone group. Okay, so we had discussed, if you look into the structure of disaccharide, let's say sucrose. Can you see the slide now? Class?
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is the structure of sucrose, which is actually formed of what? A glucose molecule and a fructose molecule.
Yes, ma'am.
So two sugar molecules have been linked together with the help of a glycosidic bond. This is a glucose and the fructose molecule. You can see over here this carbon molecule, this one. They have been bound with the carbon as well as the OH molecule, and there is the hydrogen here over here. So what is happening over this bond? We can see the oxygen is actually slightly more electronegative. So what will it do? So it will tend to have that more electronegativity, because of which this bond will just go out, and then this will be a CHO will be freely available. So, and this bond will break. I mean, it will be a CHO which will be freely available, which can actually give a that is it will be free to oxidize, and it will be a reducing sugar. So in case of sucrose, it is not it is not, this CHO bond is not available over here. So that is why it is a non-reducing sugar. Sorry, I'm showing the sucrose molecule. This is lactose. Okay, here you can see, sorry. So you can see this is a carbon molecule. You can see which is bond with this oxygen. Then there is a carbon and this is OH and then is H. So what is happening over here? This oxygen molecule, can you see? Just need to make this structure a little.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this will actually having a slightly more electronegative of what? So that's why this hydrogen atom will shift to this oxygen. Okay. When this will happen, so this bond will actually break down and we have a C, then we say H and this O. So this CHO will be freely available and that is why lactose is a reducing sugar. So it's a happening. So this carbon atom is actually freely available. This CHO will be freely available to oxidize. Getting my point?
Ma'am?
Hmm?
Ma'am, here glucose,
Yes, ma'am.
it is beta glucose, no ma'am?
Alpha glucose, beta galactose.
Ma'am, here structure, it represents a beta glucose structure.
Yes, ma'am.
No, it
Yes, ma'am.
It is beta
The OH
lactose.
is
Actually. Beta lactose actually it is.
This, sorry, I did not get you.
Ma'am, it should be
Ma'am,
beta
on carbon 1, OH is on the upper hand. So they are telling that is beta glucose.
Okay, okay. See, the thing is that this has been actually taken from this thing. So the picture has been represented, but you can just find out the one from the original one. But that is then the structure is alpha glucose and beta galactose. So we have this beta 1 for glycosidic bond. Okay. That is how, because of this electronegativity of this oxygen, you can just see that this molecules forms over here, and we have a actually free aldehyde group. That is why it is actually giving a reducing sugar. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. And so in the sucrose, this carbon is not
It's
filled,
not
the
having.
C1 carbon, so it cannot open.
Yeah, it is not opening.
So, ma'am, so basically in Tollens reagent, this glycosidic bond doesn't break. Only the C1 position carbon atom.
Glycoside doesn't break. Glycoside doesn't break.
Okay, okay. So that was the confusion. Okay, ma'am. Fine, understood.
It doesn't break.
There is no free aldehyde or ketone group there.
Yes, it is not having a free aldehyde or a ketone group, then it is forming these things. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Then we are moving to the next molecule, which is actually having the lipids. So we are having the lipids, which are actually, what do we know is that these are fatty or oily or waxy organic compounds, which are actually also water insoluble, just like the polysaccharides. These are not soluble in water molecules, but they are solvent. They are soluble in organic solvents such as chloroform. And the main composition of lipids are fatty acids and glycerols. So this is how a typical lipid structure looks like. We have a fatty acid. So this is a fatty acid. How it looks like, it has a carboxyl group. Okay, COH group, and then we have a long carbon chain. So this COH group, as I know, that is an acidic one. So we have a carboxyl group and a long chain of carbon chain in a fatty acids. So what is happening in lipids is that many fatty acids are actually linked together to a small alcohol known as glycerol, and this we are having a forming a lipids, fatty acids and then glycerol. So these are some of the lipids which are actually fatty acids, which are actually having different structures, and based on the different structures we have different function of these things. So you can see the first one is stearic acid. Here you can see it's a just simple one with a carboxyl group at the end, and we have a long carbon chain. And then we have linolenic, then oleic and elydic acids, where in the last two you can see there are the bonds which are cis and trans. Cis means both the hydrogens are in the on the one side, and while in the trans it is on the opposite ends, one in this side, one is the other side, and that is why this is known as this one, the first one, steric is saturated because it doesn't contain any double bonds. And in the other thing, these are the unsaturated fatty acids that are having the double bonds. And again, we have the unsaturated, we have cis and trans bonds. So saturated and unsaturated fatty acids, what is the role? We're going to discuss. So this is not required. Yeah. So saturated fatty acids usually is from the saturated fat or the unsaturated fat. The difference is that you can see in mostly saturated fats are found in the kind of dairy products, and then butter and meats and all that. But unsaturated are actually found in the vegetable oils. So in terms of good or bad for the health, so we can see that in unsaturated fatty acid we have this good cholesterol. So cholesterol can be good or bad. So they have high density lipoproteins. So these are having high good cholesterol in unsaturated fats. So you can have unsaturated fats goes good for I mean it's good having good cholesterol. While in case of saturated fat, it has bad cholesterol, and they in the room temperature mostly the saturated fats are actually solids. But in unsaturated fat, these are actually, because of the double bonds and all, these are liquid at the room temperature. And also the saturated fats actually having the low density lipoproteins, which is actually a reason of the clogs in the arteries. But in unsaturated fats, what is happening that when they are broken down, when we are taking them, when broken down and actually removed from the body, that is why it is actually somehow it has been good for the health.
Ma'am, what is lipoprotein?
So
Low
lipids
density, high density.
lipids and proteins, when they form this lipoprotein, we'll discussing about in this coming slides. Okay, lipoproteins. So this is another compound, which is a complex compound of lipids and the proteins interact. Just like I discussed about glycoprotein. Glyco comes from the carbohydrate word, and protein is another molecule. So carbohydrates and proteins together form this glycoprotein, and here we have lipoprotein. Okay, so there is another slide that I have kept for you for the differences to list about saturated versus unsaturated fats. So as I said that saturated has single bonds only, and in unsaturated we have both single as well as double bonds. And yeah, in unsaturated we can divide them into mono-unsaturated and polyunsaturated, but saturated doesn't have any categories, it's just the saturated ones. And as I said, on room temperature, saturated are forming a solid thing. They are having a solid composition, while in unsaturated, they are found in the liquid form. And mostly the animal derived fats, whatever we are getting, the meat and also I said dairy products, these are the saturated fats, while case of plants derived are the unsaturated fats. And then we have this saturated are non-susceptible to the oxidation, and whether in unsaturated they are susceptible to the oxidation. Okay. So as I have said that because of this things, they are not able to break down. So saturated are not very good for health, while at unsaturated they are having other benefits and good for the health. So you can see this is something we are having. Everyone likes it. What are these? So, I guess nowadays the Western culture has increased so much that French fries are everywhere. Yeah. Yes, everyone loves this, and this weather is perfectly cool for the French fries. McD और यहाँ पे चले जाइए, French fries ले लीजिए. So, but whenever we are eating, it's good for taste and all that. But we know that how harmful is this for our health. So these are actually having trans fatty acids. Okay, trans fatty acids, as I said, in this double bond, at this point you can see there are the hydrogens are on the opposite ends. Both the things. So these are actually good for health. These are actually edible, but these are not good for health because they increase the risk of this heart diseases and all that, coronary artery diseases. And as I said that they have bad cholesterol, they increase this density of the lipoprotein and lower the density of the good cholesterol and all that. Okay, so
Ma'am, but this is an unsaturated fatty acid, so it should be good for health, because in the previous slide you said that it is good.
yes, but then again I said that these are trans fatty acids. Okay, so trans, I am telling you because because of this things, what I say, yeah, because of this bond and all that, the trans fatty acids, they are exceptional. That is what I am telling out. Saturated, unsaturated are good, but again, then we have exceptions like trans fatty acids are not good because of this typical bonds and all that. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So some of the functions of lipids are like they are energy storage, just like we have in polysaccharide, we had glycogen, which is the energy storage. In lipids, we have energy storage thing. Also, they have this function of protection, insulations. You know, we said that with this layer that we are more fat होने से ज़्यादा ठंड नहीं लगती and all that. So they have this protection, insulation, lubrication, and also we have hormones, which are actually proteins, and the human hormone precursors are actually formed of the lipids. And also we can see that these lipids form the membranes of cell. In many in the cell membranes are composed of the lipids. So these are some of the functions of the lipids. And if we will look into the category of lipids, so there are different categories. So just like we have triglyceride, phospholipids, steroids, and waxes. We'll be discussing one by one. So starting with triglycerides, so we can look into that. Mostly all these neutral fats that include the butters or the vegetables oils, they have actually 3 fatty acid tails, and that's why they are known as triglycerides. So if you have like 3 fatty acid tails, and these are the triglycerides, and these are the most abundant, actually the richest energy source in the vertebrate bodies, and they are actually concentrated in the adipose tissue, in that actually is the for the insulation and the cushions of the body parts. So you can see this adipocyte. You can see fat reservoir over here, and then we have this mostly the energy sources are composed of this triglycerides, which are actually having 3 fatty acids and 1 alcohol molecule. So this is the first category of lipids that we are discussing. Then we are having these things known as phospholipids. So phospholipids, as the name suggests, phospho comes for that we have a phosphate containing head, and then we have a lipid molecule. So this is a typical structure of a phospholipids, where we have a phosphate head, and then we have 2 fatty acid tails. Okay, so you say that fatty acids are actually not soluble in water. So this fatty acid tails are actually hydrophobic tails. Because of this phosphate molecule, we have a hydrophilic region over here. So, and that is why these phospholipids are actually amphipathetic in nature, because both hydrophobic and hydrophilic nature are available in these phospholipids. This is the probable questions I'm just telling you. So mostly if they ask that this kind of lipids are actually amphipathetic in nature. Usually lipids are not soluble in water, but because of this phosphate containing head, these phospholipids are having both the properties of hydrophilic and as well as hydrophobic. Clear? Now, one of the important roles of phospholipids are that they are actually forming the lipid bimembrane. The cell membrane, this is composed of the phospholipids. So there are actually different kinds of proposals by different scientists. So one of them is the mostly accepted one is the fluid mosaic model, although there are different kinds of models. So how these phospholipids are actually arranged in the cell membrane. So you can see over here that in the cell membrane, these are actually lipid bilayer is forming. So one layer of lipids over here, and there is another layer of lipids over here. And this phosphate heads are on the top, they are turning outside over there. So what is it? This is a sandwich model. You can see this phosphate are on the top, and then there we have the lipid layer on the bottom. And similarly, over there are 2 layers of such phospholipids. So the outer surface is actually hydrophilic because of the phosphate bond, and then the inner one is the hydrophobic bond. So these hydrophobic tails are actually sandwiched between the heads. So different proposals by different scientists, they have given different options. So which one is actually the correct ones is not yet proved. So everyone is like giving their own opinion. So how these are actually arranged. So mostly likely the fluid mosaic model is being accepted widely. You can see, yeah, again we have shown over here the phospholipids. Actually you can see the hydrophobic head and 2 hydrophobic tail. This is the one layer of lipids, phospholipids. You can see the overheads are on the top, and in this other layer we have the hearts on the down, and we have the lipid molecules in the middle. So this is when we look into the cross section of a typical structure of a cell. You can see this is the cell membrane is actually a lipid bilayer. This is how it is being formed. So this picture I had taken from the Leninger book. You can just have a look. You can get the PDF of the Leninger book from the internet itself.
I got the Leninger book, but it's very big.
Yeah, it's very big,
Huge.
but when you look for the only protein part, only carbohydrate part, so you can definitely go through those parts. Okay. So it is a bigger book for the entire biochemistry, but your specific task is to look for the proteins and the carbohydrates and the lipids and all that. So that part you can just look into that. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Then coming to the another lipid molecule, which is steroids. The steroid has some different other structures. So here steroids are some lipids which are actually, they have a they do not have any fatty acids. They just have the carbon rings, and they do not have any fatty acid tails. Just like in other things we have fatty acid tails. So they here in steroid we do not have any fatty acid tails. So that is why they are making another kind of lipids. And in eukaryote cell membranes we are actually finding steroids. One of the common steroid is cholesterol, which is actually found in the animal tissue, and is actually the starting material that the cell remodels into many molecules like bile salts, which actually helps in digestion of fat. And then we have vitamin D, which is actually required to keep the teeth and the bones strong and all that. So cholesterol is one of the important steroid, and there are other steroid hormones which are actually derived from cholesterol. So just like we have estrogens and testosterone, which are actually the important for the reproduction and all. So these are also the steroid hormones. So these do not have any fatty acid tails. Remember, these are the category of lipids that do not contain any fatty acid tails. Moving to the fourth category. Yeah.
Ma'am, is this steroid hormones are that which are used in bodybuilding industries?
Yeah, definitely, because they are interested. Their function is for this growth and reproduction. No, so these are those hormones that are being used.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, the final one is the waxes. So waxes are lipids which are actually having they have long fatty acid tails, but they are actually bonded to long chains of alcohols or carbon rings. So what is actually happening is that these molecules are so tightly packed so that the entire the resulting molecule is very actually firm and water repellent. So we know that lipids are hydrophobic, but these are very water repellent in the sense that you can see sometimes when rain drops over certain plants, you can see that the dew drops, the water molecules are just what do we say, shaking over the leaves. Haven't you seen after a rain comes, there are certain leaves on which the water molecules just keep shaking over there. So that is why, because these plants have a thick layer of this waxes. So that is why that is why the water just like keeps shaking and it doesn't get dry up. I mean, it is like that is why it is completely water repellent. Okay, similarly we have honeybees, so waxes actually comes from that name also, because honeybees actually store this honey into honeycombs, and that is from which they are forming this bee wax. So that is again a source of waxes. And there are other waxes which are actually help to protect and then lubricate and also soften the skin and hair. So waxes together with the fats and fatty acids actually they also make this feathers of birds. You can see the feathers of birds. That's why that are also waterproof. So waxes are also found in the feathers because you can see that whenever this the birds get drenched in the rain and all that, they just dry up. They shake off these things and the water just get dried. So the feathers are also having waxes molecules over here. So this is about the fats. Summarizing these fats, we can say that fats or the lipids with the 1 or 3 fatty acid tails from the fats. Fatty acids we discussed, these are long chains of carbon atoms with a acidic carboxyl group at the end, which can be saturated or unsaturated fatty acids. Lipids are actually fatty, oily, waxy organic compounds. Phospholipid, as I said, they have a phosphate group at the top, at the head, which is actually hydrophilic. And that is why phospholipids are the amphipathetic in nature, both hydrophobic and hydrophilic nature, which is actually an exceptional case because in lipids we are talking that they are actually non-soluble in water. Saturated and unsaturated fat we discussed because of the double bonds in the carbon tail. Okay, then we have
Trilipid is also that amphi, what you said, that both the things are there.
Sorry?
The trilipids, which you have said earlier, they are also one part is hydrophobic and one part is hydrophilic because it contains of 1 alcohol group and 3 fatty acid tails. So it is also an exception then.
Ma'am, you are muted.
Ma'am, you are muted.
Ma'am, you are muted.
May I know who is actually muting me? आप लोग अभी क्लास 12th खत्म करके इंजीनियरिंग ज्वाइन किए हो एंड दिस टाइप ऑफ सिचुएशन इज क्रिएटिंग बाय यू स्टूडेंट्स. आई एम रियली अपसेटिंग. यू आर कंप्लीटली डिसअपॉइंटिंग मी. अगर आपको यही करना है, अगर म्यूट ही करना है, सो आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू टीच यू. ओके, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू टीच यू. प्लस क्लास में एग्जाम्स में आप जो लाना है करो. एंड इफ अगेन दिस इज आई एम गिविंग वार्निंग यू अगेन एंड अगेन. सो ये अगर क्लास में फिर से हुआ, अगर म्यूट किया जाए मुझको, तो आई विल मेक श्योर दैट नन ऑफ यू गेट इवन ए ग्रेड. एक्सीलेंट तो दूर की बात है, ए ग्रेड भी नहीं दूंगी सबका.
मैम
Just deduct 20 to 30 marks. All of you. Sorry?
Ma'am, you may change the permission so that you only organizer can mute.
I can change the permission, but why you dare to do those things?
You can be the organizer and so that we can no one can mute you.
I know the things. I know that I have been teaching this from the past 2 years. ठीक है, मैं ऑनलाइन पढ़ाती हूँ. लेकिन आपका ये म्यूट करने का बात क्या है? लास्ट टाइम भी ये किया था आपने, इस बार भी ऐसे ही किया है. So I trust my students and I don't expect this from my students. आप लोग अभी फर्स्ट ईयर में हो, this type of situation you are creating. And now you are telling me that what we have to.
कल भी हुआ था एक क्लास में, कोई गाना बजाने आ गया था, तो ये हम लोग का ये नहीं है, मतलब कोई और कर रहा है, हम लोग को.
there is one student, not all of us are doing. ये सेटिंग्स चेंज कीजिए, हमको कुछ मतलब वो म्यूट ऑल ऑप्शन ही निकाल दीजिए हम हमारे से.
यस मैम, कल भी हुआ था, आके भोजपुरी गाना लगा दिया था, मतलब प्रैक्टिकल क्लास में
आके वो चला रहा है.
Okay, very good. So there are some students who are actually doing this. Okay, I'll do that. Again, I have been muted. फिर से कर रहे हो, जो कर रहा है, जिसको कर रहा है करो. एक बार तो क्लास खुलेगी ना, आप आओ. Then we'll see you. Okay. Again, someone muted me. Thank you so much. Anyways, I'm stopping over here because this will be the summary points till now for lipids. In the next class, we'll be discussing the other part. So what I said there, what I suggest you that all of you please go through the books, read, make notes, because some of you already have this biology classes in your
Ma'am, you are suggesting that we should get that Leninger book PDF so that we can go through that.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
ठीक है. There are other books also. It is not like that
Ma'am.
you have to go for Leninger only. There is Trier and that, because these are the books which are actually having a very detailed thing. So if you are really interested to learn more about this, you can go through these books. Else you can just go for other plain books also. There are books, even can go through the class 12th CBSE books. That is also enough for you for this kind of biochemistry.
Yes, ma'am. The carbohydrate and all that sucrose and lactose, we had it in our class 12 CBSE chemistry. So, so these lipids and all that, these are new to us.
Okay.
So we'll be going through that Leninger book to get all this.
Yeah, you can go through this, and I can. There is another book also. I can just. That's I don't remember the name right now. I'll just share with you in the MS Teams.
Yes, ma'am. It will be helpful if you could share it, post it in the
like
files.
it is freely available on online, or we have to buy it, something like that.
Sorry?
It is free. The Leninger book which you have
books are
suggested.
freely available. You don't have to buy anything. And once the college reopens, you can find the hard copy over there in the library itself. So there are many books. I have personally visited the library and seen that the book copies are available in the library itself. So you can just come and have a look into that books also. But as I said, someone said that it's a very big book and all that. Don't get scared. आपको उसको पूरा book नहीं पढ़ना है, just say few parts only. You have to go through those things for like better concept and clear concepts. So you can just get more information about this what we are teaching you. So we are not going to teach everything in detail. So you can have a broad look or outlook or more information from those books. Clear?
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can we get previous year questions or sample questions for biochemistry?
You can talk to your seniors for that.
Okay. Can you
Ma'am,
provide?
you just say that we can consult NCERT from class 12 also, right?
Yeah, you can consult because there are books. The books have all the books have good information. Any books is good, right? Yeah. Okay, then I stop over here for today's class.
Ma'am, can you share the